Hey, Wisconsin high school hockey fans, it's time for this week's edition of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey. I'm Mike Hammond along with Bill Scanlon and Bill Sr. and Bill Jr. up there in the Wausau area. And tonight we have a guest, and we always do. Guy needs no introduction in Janesville. Luke Steurer, the head coach of the Rock County Fury. Luke, how's it going?
Doing good.
Well, talk a little bit about your team as this seasons went on. You're a couple of weeks in and kind of getting a grasp on what kind of team you got this year.
Yeah, we got off to a good start this season. Just the makeup that we have, all the different girls, the chemistry that a lot of these younger players brought in with them, playing for a long time, and our veterans that we have. I think it's really helped this year. Just, we have 12 skaters and a goalie. So, I think we're one of the smallest teams for girls on the girls side, but they play very well together. They support each other, and just having that chemistry, I think, makes up big for our low numbers. So we've been able to go out there, and play and win some good games already at the beginning of this year.
One thing's for sure, having low numbers, you can't get into one of those penalty filled games.
No, and that's one of the things they've done pretty well this year, is staying out of the penalty box for the most part. We've had a game or two where we've gotten, quite a few, but conditioning is a big thing for us. So, it's one thing that they work really hard on. So when we do get into those penalty situations, we can fight them off. But having a small team makes decisions a lot easier of who we're going to play. So,
yeah, because it's everybody.
Pretty
Nobody
much, yeah.
plays one ice time.
Yeah, unless
Out
if
of
you get
necessity.
a girl or two sick. Yeah, I think the first weekend of games we had a girl or two sick, so we were down to 9-10 girls. So that was a fun couple of games.
So Luke, one of the reasons we brought you on is you got a special game coming up this upcoming this Thursday. Can you give us a little details about how that came about?
Yeah, so we usually do an event game every year, and this year, a little later, we decided to do a mental health awareness game. That was really motivated by the tragic loss of a friend to a lot of the girls on the team, and a future teammate for us. So we're really just kind of hoping to raise funds and support. It's our organization, NAMI, in Rock County. We have a base in Rock County, so we're looking to help raise funds for them and help support their mission, which is just really advocating for the better lives of individuals that have mental health illness. So we're looking to got some different things going on for the game Thursday versus Arrowhead. We're gonna have 50-50 raffle. We got some t-shirts that we're going to sell. We had some special t-shirts made up that we did a pre-order on, and then got some extra ones to sell at the event. We got Chuck a Puck going, and then we're going to do a bake sale. The girls were over at Clegg's baking cookies after school today, getting ready for that. So it was a fun event for them to get together to do that there. So it should be, a successful event. We've got a lot of hands on deck to help out with everything with it.
Now, we talked a little bit before we came on, the potential for some bad weather's there this Thursday. And if it does come about, I'm sure you'll move this awareness game to a little bit later on the schedule and everything to still have it. But right now we're planning on you as the game of the week with the mental health awareness game. And for some of our fans that don't really know, Hope House actually shared a link earlier this week, just going into the weekend with some numbers that come out. And it's kind of odd. We're actually at the end of 2022, but when the state comes out with their numbers on these mental health awareness and through Child Protective Services, they're usually about a year behind. And everybody hears about, COVID and the toll that took on mental health for our kids. But when you look at Wisconsin's numbers over the last 10 years, in 2011, 11.5% of high school students had contemplated suicide. In 2017, that was up to 15%. In 2021, that was at 14.8. And that's just the ones that had made a plan and didn't try to follow through. When you look at the ones who actually attempted, there's a 8.5% of our teenagers in 2021. Mental health is something that our society shuns from talking about, but it's something that, we need to encourage our children and even our adults to talk to somebody and seek the guidance for it. And, doing a game like this is something that can help a lot of people.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. It's something that I think a lot of people are kind of scared to come and talk to somebody about, and that's hopefully a big part of, the main reason why we're doing this is to get the awareness out there. And we're gonna have a couple staff from NAMI that are gonna have a table there with information and booklets and stuff too, to help us really educate people on the different, support systems that are out there, the different, numbers that you can call, the support groups, that you can reach out to if you need to. And that's, like I said, I think the biggest thing that we want to get out of this is just the awareness of it and education to try and help do our part with this.
Well, let's talk. You talked a little bit about your team this season. What have you seen in your opponents? And, what's the strength of this year? Is it going to be the goaltending, or is it going to be scoring, do you think, on the girls' side?
I think I've seen from looking at other games, it's been goaltending, I think, a lot. When you see a lot of the numbers for the goalies that have the higher save percentages, I think looking in our conference too, the goalies are kind of taking over there, where they're really the kind of the stars of the games, with keeping, them low numbers. I saw one goalie had like 80 something saves, and it was only 6 or 7 goals against them. But the games that we've played, it's, you got to get 20, 30, 40 shots just to try to get a goal or two in there. So, I think it's going to be the year of the goalie, for the girls' side.
There we go. Let's try this. You had to replace your goalie from last year. Baby Cronin, we called her. That young lady was 3-4 year starter for you. Big skates to fill there, and she was one of the better ones in the state.
She was fun to watch.
Yes.
Yeah, yep. She was a 4-year starter. Yeah, I mean, she was a goalie that got better every year. Was fun to watch, especially last year. I mean, she took probably averaging 40, 50 shots a game. Still had a good save percentage and goals against. But yeah, we had Jillian Traver that came in this year and took over that spot, and she's our lone goalie. But it's been a blessing to have her. She's really picked up where our goaltending left off last year, and picked it up right away this year. And she's been a huge factor in a lot of our games. She had 41 saves Friday night against Badger Lightning that really helped us to crawl back into that game too. So, it's last couple different goaltenders we've had. We've been fortunate. We've always had a really good goaltending.
You got a couple girls coming through right now, the Klagora girls, who I know quite well, and also their dad's one of your assistant coaches. These two girls have kind of, I don't want to say under the radar, but Emma's probably going to be making a pretty good name for herself this season and next season. She's a pretty talented little goal scorer. She is feisty.
Yeah, you said they're feisty. Yes, she's, her sister's kind of more a quiet one, but yeah, they're both very talented. And yeah, I expect both of them, especially Ava's a freshman coming in. They've already, started making names for themselves, just with the points and goals they've been getting, but also just how they've been playing on the ice, just the back checking that they do and how hard they skate, all game long. So it's been great to have them.
always know what you're gonna get when you get Emma out there for a shift. She goes 100 miles an hour. And, sometimes it gets her in a little bit of trouble in the penalty box, but still, you never have to worry about the effort. The effort's always gonna be there.
Yep, yeah, when she's done a lot better at staying on the penalty box, so because she knows we need her on the ice more than we need her on the bench. So that's been great.
Plus her dad's standing right there on the bench. You can reel her in a little bit.
Yeah, he can just get on her and probably a little bit more than I need to or can.
Both the Berg boys have been out there to Clegg's restaurant when there was a fundraiser for my wife, so they're familiar with the place out there. And Chad's always been very kind enough when it comes to hockey to lend his restaurant to whatever needs they are. And it's good to have that people like that in your community.
Yeah, it's been great. I know they help out with Milton hockey, boys hockey, and the Bluebirds, and they have us there, our team, and we have our booster club meetings there all the time. So they've been very inviting and helping out with whatever we need. So it's been great having that around.
Well, if nobody else has any questions, I got one kind of odd question. Should the game on Thursday not come about, what's going to be done with all those baked goods?
Well, we can send them to you if you want to give me your address. Otherwise, we'll probably just
MJ has it, yeah.
There you go. We can do that, or we'll just divvy them up, and the girls can eat them on a long weekend break or something. And we'll have another team get together, bake some more for the makeup date for it. But yeah, they'll let me know, and I'll send you a whole bunch of them.
Speaking of
Coach-
long weekend breaks, given that Christmas and New Year's are both Sundays this year, there really isn't much of a break in the hockey schedule. Anything different as a coach to handle that this year?
No, the one thing different for this year is we've got a lot of weekends off. I tried scheduling that as much as I can, just give the girls a little more time, and so we're mainly going Monday through Friday. So we've got practice the 26th, and then we got our holiday tournament 28th at night. So we're gonna be practicing the 26th and 27th, and I think they're used to that, having a practice right after that to get ready for that holiday tournament that we have every year right after Christmas. So nothing really different for us.
You're at the WIPH Holiday Classic, right?
Yep.
Selfless plug.
Well, yeah, you could just say you're at our tournament, right? And that's in Fond du Lac this year. I'll be there covering that.
Yep.
Shameless plug for WIPH. Well, guys, anything else you got for Luke?
Thanks for taking your time out of your evening and the girls practice tonight, Luke, and to come on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thank you guys for everything that you do for hockey and the girls side especially. I know everyone appreciates everything that you guys do for us.
All right, Luke Steurer, head coach of the Rock County Fury, joined us tonight. Thanks a lot, Luke. We'll see you soon. All right. Games of the week we got to talk about. Badger Lightning at the Metro Links. Dell was at that one, and Bill Jr. was at Spooner and Anago. Two teams that have the same colors. So, Dell, go ahead and go first.
Thanks, MJ. Well, the Badger Lightning traveled down to Madison to take on the Metro Lynx, and Lightning had lost the heartbreaker to the Rock County Fury the night before, 4-3, having given up two shorthanded goals in that one, and we're looking for another nice tight game against the Lynx. But Emma Stebbins had her own mind on how this game should turn out, and she opened up the scoring in the first period with a unassisted goal where she went from her own defensive end down the other end and put the puck in. And then less than a half minute later, Grace Bonnell assisted on Emma's second goal And the first period ended with a 2-0 lead for the Lynx. The Lynx put 3 more goals in the second period. Emma scored the first 2, an unassisted one, and then one with an assist from Scout Elmer, putting them up 4-0. And then late in the second period, Ella Cook made a nice pass to the low slot that was one-timed in by Annalise Delbro to make it 5-0. And then in the third period, Grace Bonnell scored with an assist from Emma Stebbid to complete the scoring 6-0. And so Emma just had a terrific game, and penalties were about even, but this was a Lynx game from start to finish. And with that, I'll pass it over to Junior with Spooner Anago.
Yeah, I made the trek over to Anago on Saturday. Anago is where I grew up. Cameraman Brett met me there. He drove himself since, he lives there. We met at the rink, took in Spooner and Anago. Spooner, for those who are unaware, has not played as a solo team in I think it was 12 seasons. They've been part of the Northwest Iceman Co-op, but now they are going it on their own again. So that's why we made the trip over to Anago. And as MJ alluded to, Anago and Spooner do wear the same color, but Anago wore their grays, so nobody was confused. It was, depending on your view of how you like to watch hockey, it was 2/3 of a good hockey game. The first period and third period were both really good. The second period was a hot mess. The first period, only scoring from Peyton Mahalik of Anago. He picked off a Spooner outlet pass, weaved around the defenseman who stepped up to oppose him, and then stepped inside another one before roofing it and giving Anago a 1-0 lead. That's where it was after one period. They had a 14-7 shot advantage. Spooner's goalie, Travis Johnson, had a really nice first period, a couple of really big saves. Early in the second period, 6:02 in, Jesse Morales from Spooner tied it up. Made it a 1-1 game. It looked like we were going to have a good game. And then the best way to describe it is that the simulation broke. Anago scored 3 goals in 1 minute and 8 seconds after that. And then Spooner and Anago traded the next 6 goals in that period. Spooner, Anago, Spooner, Anago, Spooner, Anago. At the end of the second period, after a 1-0 first period, the score was 7-4. And it was wild. Brett is up top. There's a little standing, very small area outside of the score booth up above where Brett was taking pictures. I was down below at ice level, and like the goals kept coming so fast for the second period that I'd be tweeting out a goal and someone would score again. So I'd add it to my tweet because, it's our game of the week. We like to send out the updates. And I didn't get any pictures of the second period from ice level because I spent the entire period on my phone just tweeting out goal after goal after goal. Things settled down again in the third period. Anago scored first, then Spooner scored again, and Anago answered right back just 28 seconds later, making the final score 9-5. Like I said, apart from that second period, it was actually a really good hockey game. Spooner and Anago were pretty evenly matched, both of them with fairly small rosters. Like Coach Steurer said of the Rock County Fury, they only got 13 skaters and a goalie or whatever. Anago only has 12 skaters and a goalie. I think Spooner has 13 and 3 goalies. Anago had 2 players missing due to illness, so a couple short benches. Third period, while Anago won the period 2-1, Spooner actually outshot them 13-7. It was a really nice period for them, a settle down period after that crazy second period. It was a fun game to watch. If you're a fan of defense, it was a real head scratcher, making you pull your hair out because most of those goals going both ways were the result of poor outlet passes or just not cleaning up in front of the net. So it was a tough, if you're a big fan of defense, that was a tough one to watch. But if you like scoring, that game was great. Anago came out with the win. 9-5 was the final. I'm
Sounds like a
distracted.
game
This
for me.
burglar keeps getting up and checking his TV to see how the Packers are doing.
Sounds like one of those hockey games from the 80s, the high scoring games. But
Yeah, and
And
it didn't
goes-
look like it was going to be that way. It was 1-1, 6 minutes through the second period, and then all of a sudden just 9 goals over the next 10 minutes. It is just crazy.
my goodness. Well, that's Junior's report on the wild one up there between Spooner and Antigo. Let's move on to the Radisson Madison players of the week, the boys and girls. Let's start out on the boys' side. The winner from the Radisson Madison player of the week on the boys' side is Tate Schmidt of Wanakee. Monday, he had 3 goals, 3 assists, and a 10-1 win over rival DeForest. On Friday, 3 goals, 2 assists, and a 5-2 win over McFarland. And he had 1 assist in a 3-2 overtime loss to Verona. So Tate Schmidt, congratulations. You are the Radisson Madison player of the week on the boys' side. On the girls' side, talk about the Metro Lynx. Emma Stebbins is our winner. She had 2 goals and a 4-0 win over the Icebergs, and 4 goals, 1 assist in the 6-0 win over the Badger Lightning. So a fine week for Emma Stebbins as well. As on the girls' side, she's the Radisson Madison player of the week. And the Radisson Madison is the official headquarters for Wisconsin Prep Hockey during the state tournament. So we thank them for covering our players of the week. Once again, Tate Schmidt of Wanakee and Emma Stebbins of the Metro Lynx are the players of the week. Now it's time for top 6, and everybody pulls their chair a little bit closer. Want to know where their team falls in that top 6. And Bill Jr., who's really good at numbers, did the tabulating and comes out looking like this.
Well, Google Sheets does the tabulating. I just tell it what to do. This week, the teams didn't change on any of the 3 lists. The order of the teams changed, but the teams did not change. Number 1 in boys Division 1 is Notre Dame Academy, a unanimous number 1 selection this week. Chippewa Falls is 2nd. Eau Claire Memorial moves up 1 spot to 3rd. Hudson drops 1 spot to 4th. Superior moves up 1 spot to 5th, and Bayport drops 1 spot to 6th. For Division 2, St. Mary's Springs moves up 1 spot into the top spot. New Richmond drops to 2nd. Amory is still 3rd. Lakeland and Rhinelander flip-flopped. Lakeland is 4th, Rhinelander is 5th, and Oregon is still 6th. And then in the girls, Hayward and Bay Area flip-flop. So Hayward is now number 1 and Bay Area number 2. Central Wisconsin moves up 1 spot to number 3. Superior moves up 2 spots to number 4. Fox Cities is still 5th, and University School drops 3 spots to 6th. And looking at the voting this week, a lot of the differences in Division 2 and the girls simply came down to the selection of coaches that voted. There are a lot of coaches who vote, a couple of times a month, but very few coaches who vote all 4 weeks in a month. So the selection of coaches that votes, when you see 2 teams flip-flop and there's not like an obvious reason looking at their schedules why, it's usually just because of the selection of coaches that voted. Like 1 week there'll be more northern coaches that vote, and the next week there'll be more southern coaches that vote, or eastern coaches and western coaches. So when you see bounces around like that, that's just usually because of the selection of coaches. Now in the case of like St. Mary's, Springs, and New Richmond, well, they played this week and Springs won 4-1. So that one makes a little more sense. Lakeland and Rhinelander, I didn't look at Rhinelander's schedule this week, but I don't believe those 2 played each other or anything like that. So Superior and Bayport, I think same thing. So I mean, that's what you see this week on the top 6s.
Yeah, I just speaking for myself as someone who gets to vote. When you said the same 6 teams in each group, I mean, because I looked and like nobody in the boys division 1, they didn't lose to nobody lost to somebody outside of the top 6. In a Division 2, none of those teams lost to a Division 2 team that was outside of the top 6. So it's hard to drop anybody it's hard to bounce somebody from the top 6 unless you beat them.
Right. Yeah. Like
There were a couple of upsets on the girls' side, but the girls always tends to be a little more topsy-turvy. Like the Fusion beat, I think they beat University School, which may have helped, drop University School down a little bit, but not enough to get the Fusion into the top 10 because they had some other, they've got 4 losses on the season. So, they're a little more back and forth there.
the
But
girls are still getting, like we only report the top 6 on the podcast, but they still have a deeper selection of teams overall that are getting votes here this second week. Like the boys, as you said, nobody in the top 6 lost to anybody outside of the top 6, and the votes for the most part narrowed in on those same 6 teams with a couple of outliers here and there. But the girls was still voting like 11 teams deep.
Yeah, and that one fool last week who, didn't vote for Notre Dame at number 1 apparently must have been convinced when they beat Hudson, on Saturday.
Must have that fool.
Well, the Rhinelanders loss this week actually came from an out-of-state team. They played Jeffers, Michigan, and that was their loss this week. But I don't think, like you said, I don't think they played Lakeland.
Yeah, and see what I'm doing my voting and in looking at it, I don't. When they're playing an out-of-state team, unless that team also played somebody else from Wisconsin, I sort of ignore those games. And you see that a lot with Superior and some of the other teams on the western side of the state. New Richmond usually travels to Minnesota for a holiday tournament. Like, unless the teams that they play in that holiday tournament have games against Wisconsin, like I will not penalize New Richmond if they lose any of them.
Yeah, like outside of the Berg household, I don't think anybody else is really going to care much about the Superior versus Rock Ridge game on Tuesday. Except maybe Mongo. He's always been a fan of Rock Ridge.
That is a Blazing Saddles reference for anybody who didn't get it. Children, ask your parents.
MJ, ask your wife.
Yeah, that's one I couldn't tell you. I was going to ask you, where's Rock Ridge?
Rock Ridge is not a city. It's a
Rock Ridge is where Choo Choo go.
Rock Ridge is a couple school districts combined.
Okay.
Last year, it's not a co-op, and it's not. I mean, it's not a co-op. The Eveleth Gilbert by Wabick was that the other one in the Eveleth Gilbert co-op or school district combined with the Virginia school district neighboring city into one school district, and they named it Rock Ridge because they're in the Iron Range, so there are rock ridges everywhere. So that's that new school district there. So the reason Burglar brought that one up is that Mrs. Burglar, my mother, is from Eveleth, Minnesota, now part of the Rock Ridge School District, and he is from Superior. So my parents' alma maters are duking it out this week on Tuesday.
Some bragging rights in the Berg home.
Well,
one of the things,
so she automatically wins hockey bragging rights pretty much all the time.
one of the things I look here at the boys D1, it's going to be interesting because Verona lost their first 2 games of the season, and since then they've been rolling. They won a couple overtime games, and I think they're 4-2 on the season. They lost 2 games early, and they're on a little hot streak. Don't be surprised if that team somehow, some way, wiggles their way into that top 6. Joe Marshall always seems to put a good squad together. He's a very good coach. He's got a good feeder program there, and I still say you will be hearing from Verona yet this year.
I believe they were 7th.
And
what I
MJ,
mean?
they're actually 6-2.
And they're going to get their chance in the showdown in Titletown, which is a 3-day tournament that will come up between Christmas and New Year's. They play Notre Dame on one of the days. They play
Played Notre Dame, Eau Claire Memorial, and Wausau West.
Yeah, so they'll get a chance to they'll have an opportunity to bounce back into the top 6.
And
Let me ask-
what's fun about that is that when they play Eau Claire Memorial on Thursday, the 29th, that will be their 3rd game against a Big Rivers team ranked in the top 6, because they have their first 2 games of the season, as MJ said, that they lost were 2-1 losses to Chippewa Falls and Hudson.
And since then, they haven't lost.
Well, they've
Well,
not
this-
played the Big Rivers again since then.
Right, okay. Notre Dame Academy, #1 team. Are they just that above and beyond everybody at this point?
Well,
I-
I mean, their smallest margin of victory was 3 goals.
I mean,
So-
because when you look back at like last year, you know how Hudson wire to wire was the state champion, #1 all season. It just looks like, you know, Notre Dame Academy is, like you said, they're pretty good this year.
I mean, yeah, Wausau
In fact,
West
they're
8-1.
very good.
Wausau West 8-1, Superior 8-0, Stevens Point 6-0, Nina Hortonville Menasha 8-4, Madison Edgewood 5-0, Hudson 4-1. I mean,
Yeah, Hudson's the only one that's really given them a challenge this year.
and even that was a 3-goal win. So
Okay, well,
and
Notre
that one
Dame-
is kind of a flip of what we saw last year. Last year, Hudson and Notre Dame played a game where Notre Dame only got 12 shots on goal. Hudson only took 12 shots on Saturday.
yeah, well, the way it is in high school hockey, one year you're very good, and the next year you're, I don't want to say not as good, but kind of a down year, and not in any way saying it's a down year for Hudson, because that team will have some say by the end of the season. You know, they're probably going to go deep in the playoffs again, but boy, that sectional they got to go through. That one there's a killer.
Yeah, there's 4 top 6 teams in that section.
Okay, anything else about the top 10 guys or top 6? All right, I'll take that as a no. Upcoming games of the week on the girls' side, Bell says Arrowhead at Rock County. It's going to be the mental health awareness game. And Dell's going to be covering that one. And tomorrow night, I will be about a mile and a half from my house here. We're going to take a look at the Ice Force out of the Classic 8 conference. They're coming to town to play Janesville, and we'll get a look at them and have a story and pictures and reactions of that game. As on the boys' side, it's going to be Janesville and Muskego, the Ice Force, going to get together on the boys' side for the boys' game of the week. And then our final thoughts, guys. Anything on your mind as we, you know,
I got a question for you, MJ.
What's that?
Since it just popped into my head when you said that the rink is a mile and a half from your house. And that reminded me that you were not here last week because you were at the city council meeting as they were discussing proposals for a new rink in Janesville.
it's gonna be a battle to get it. It took a big step last week. City council approving what part they're in. They're not taking bids or anything like that yet, but to look into it farther, to go a little bit farther. It's got some traction to it now.
It is advancing, though.
What's that?
It is advancing.
The problem is this place probably should have been built 2019, 2020. But as we know, you know, COVID came through and now you've got the inflation. It's it's good. It's kind of a hard sell because, you know, when you take public and private money, you took public money through tax money to possibly build this place. I mean, it's still got a ways to go, but like I said, it took a big step last week with the city council. I'd still say probably if it all comes together, 2024, 25. I mean, you're still looking at a couple years down the road yet. Our rink is old and tired like me.
So guys, yesterday I watched a little bit of hockey on TV on one of the ESPN channels. It was Canada against the USA in junior hockey championship game. And this is a penalty that drives me nuts. Guy skating in to score. Guy from the other team grabs him over the shoulder and is holding him, pulling him back a little bit as he's going in. He ends up plowing into the goalie. Penalty was called on the guy for holding, but then the guy that hit the goalie also got goalie interference. And I'm like, he had no way to get away from it. And the announcer, former player and stuff goes, well, he didn't make an attempt to get away with it. Well, when you're getting pulled backwards, it's a little difficult to get away.
That's something that I actually see in the NHL a lot. I don't want to say it's a strategy at this point, but I believe it has to be in certain defensemen's heads at this point that if I throw that guy into my goalie, they're going to get a penalty for it. It happens in the NHL at least once a week, which, once a week is not a huge number because given how many games are played, but defensemen throw guys into their goalies and the guy who hits the goalie gets the penalty. It's cause and effect does not seem to exist.
Those forwards who say, "Ooh, I feel a defenseman holding my arm. I'm going to plow into the goalie," and say, "Well, the defenseman made me do it, and they're not going to call it on me." Because forwards are sneaky bastards that way.
You know how forwards are. They like to every once in a while run the goalie.
Yes, there are forwards who embellish the things that happen to them, but there are a lot of defensemen in high level hockey now throwing guys into the goalie. Whether or not that's their intention, probably not, but it happens.
That doesn't sound like proper defenseman training. You're trained to protect your goalie, not to throw forwards at him.
And here's the thing. They do something that causes the forward to crash into their goalie, and then they pile on the forward to defend the goalie. It's like the whole cause and effect math of what's happening is just completely out of whack. Like, I'm gonna pull this guy's feet out from under him so he has no choice but to go in the direction he's going. He's gonna hit the goalie, and then I'm gonna hit him for hitting my goalie. It's just insane. It's not as bad as every now and then you'll see a guy skate near a goalie and the goalie pirouettes like he got shot out of a cannon.
But then you see Jordan Binnington throwing an arm up or something and hitting who's the guy from the Penguins? And Jordan Binnington gets he's the one who's in the wrong there. But you know what? The goalies, when they come out, they're kind of fair game. He was really in the trapezoid, though.
There really is no such thing as the goalie being fair game. People say that, once they leave or they're playing the puck, that's not true. You're not allowed to hit the goalie. But Jordan Binnington, I would never advocate this, but hit him. He's got to be, at this point, one of the least popular players in the league. Anytime there is the smallest scrum of any kind on the ice, Jordan Binnington acts like he wants to fight somebody. He never does it, but he's always willing to act like he's about to throw down with somebody. He is such a pain in the ass.
All right. Keep this in mind. There is one time when a goalie becomes fair game. If a goalie goes out to play the puck and just, moves the puck along, he's doing his job. He's not. But if the goalie goes out and takes the puck and makes a move, fakes a puck and does a toe drag and pulls it back in, then he's imitating a forward. Nail the son of a bitch. If he makes a move, if he doesn't just go out and play the puck, if he makes a move, then he is technically a skater. if he makes a move.
but that is very rare.
It doesn't
The
happen
goalie-
often.
The goalie actually
I think
grabs the
somebody told
puck and
goalies not- I think somebody told the goalies not to do that.
But if there's a wide open net at the other end, the goalie's gonna come out and try to play it if he's got a lane to send that puck down.
Well, yeah.
I believe.
Who was the
Maine?
last goalie in the NHL to score a goal?
I was gonna say, but I believe University of Maine. I believe their goalie just scored a goal the other day.
That's a
Would that be the
I'll have
big?
to look that up.
Yeah, I think I saw something. It wasn't the NHL, but it was a different league that a goalie did score a goal
recently. Yeah.
like yesterday.
So talking about the NHL, anybody got any update on our favorite Canadian or from Montreal, playing for Montreal? Any
Mr.
updates on
Caulfield.
him? Yeah,
If you want to say Canadian without saying Canadian, you have to say Canadian.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Le Habs.
MJ, you're usually up to date on how things are going there.
Cole got smoked last week in the play. He really got leveled, and he's a small guy, and he got just clobbered. It was a total accident, and he went down, and they got him off the ice and stuff, and they went and had him checked out, and 2 days later he's back playing, didn't miss a game. But this guy who hit him, it was a total accident, but boy, he took the worst of it. But he didn't miss any games.
He's got 27 points in 31 games. That'll get you some money.
I'm telling you, the kid's gonna get paid. He'll get Pavelski money. Okay, anything else you guys want to comment about?
Now I gotta go watch football.
Omar, you done?
I'm done.
Okay. Junior?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, I won't keep you guys any longer. I could go on all night, but you know what? I think I'm just gonna go ahead and shut it down here.
You
So
got to go
for-
to work tomorrow.
I do. Yes, I do, whether I want to or not. So for the two Bergs, Del Scanlon, I'm Mike Hammett. We'll see you next week on This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey.